Working now? Yes, we are. There we go. Isn't it fun when technology doesn't work? Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. It is Friday. It is 9:32 Eastern Standard Time. That means it is time for VVHL LIVEWIRE. Coming at you with the greatest bunch of beauties we've had this side around the Mississippi. I've got with us the one and only Mr. Backblast Dan. Dan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. Vroom, vroom.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We've got a little teaser up on the screen here. I wasn't supposed to show this yet, but technology's grand. We've got the commissioner with us tonight. We've got one and only Mikey Diesel. Mikey, how you doing, buddy?
Heyo. Doing well, man. I'm currently home resting my thumbs after posting all the trades and just chilling and enjoying the vibes. Let's go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And along with him, the second half of the Only Dans, along with Army, we've got the one and only Dandy Randy. Dandy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Sean. Thank God it's Friday, and we're pumped for LiveWire.
Yes, TGIF indeed. And last but certainly not least, the one, the only, my partner in crime on Tuesdays, killed it on the mic with TG Girl this week. It is BA Superhero. BA, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Like Randy said, it's Friday. Can't complain about that. And with all these trades, my notes are never going to recover properly, but I'm excited to talk about all that. And as always, we have Ogre Scrolls today as well, so I'm just very excited for today's episode.
That's right. A big shout out to Ogre, who put again the second week of Ogre Strolls. He won't be with us here tonight. He's currently in the process of moving, I believe. So shout out Ogre if you're listening there. Thanks again for your insight and everything to go along with that. The Ogre Scrolls have become a fantastic staple of Livewire here every Friday during SmackDown as well. Don't trust me. Don't think I haven't thought about that. I could be watching Randy Orton right now, but no, I'm just kidding. Hey, we got like 65 minutes worth of stuff to try to fit into 30 minutes. Let's get right into it. Before we get into anything else, let's look at what happened this week in the VVHL. There was a lot of movement in the standings, in the stats, everywhere, every category. People shooting up and down. It's crazy to see. Let's start off here. Tuesday, 9:45, we had the Savannah Bananas falling to the Sting, 6-4. The Miami Tropics falling to those Blissful Biscuit Cookies, 7-3. Excuse me, the Sicilian Slicers, always a tough Tuesday squad, taking down the Tampa Bay Tribe 11-7. The Generals squeaked one out over the Ice Hawks 7-6. The Gotham City Rollers taking down the Naptown Nightmare 11-4 in a big game for them. And the Blue Dragons, the team's top league as the end of week one, wins their first game of the week 4-3. Quick round table here, gentlemen. Which score sticks out to you? What did you see? What happened?
Well, everybody here minus BA was a part of it, right? We were on the ice. A lot of us got traded after the results of some of these games.
Spoiler alert.
So, spoiler alert. Sorry, guys. But here's what I see. I see parity across the league. I see teams that are making major tweaks, whether it's via trade or it's or it's just switching up the lines. I mean, we had Hoagie that was out for the Slicers, and you saw Gage, you saw Octo take major step forward. So it was awesome to see everybody. Sorry, my wife is distracting me with deliciousness. Ooh. So thank you. I'm talking very loud.
Yeah, so, you and TG called these.
That's the end of my comments.
Which game was it that you guys streamed for game one?
It was Gotham and Naptown.
Gotham and Naptown, that's right. Anything crazy happen in that game? I see a bit of an 11-4 score. Was it a typical VV third period, or just kind of just through and through the whole way, Gotham taking the lead?
The score doesn't really reflect how close it felt the first two periods, and I don't even know if the score ever really reflected that. It did feel like it was very back and forth, but eventually it just became a ball rolling downhill for Gotham, and it was just Naptown couldn't really get out of the hole in the third period. I think it wound up stopping short. So it definitely was early on very competitive, and then it just started rolling, unfortunately. And when momentum gets that way in threes, apparently, so got to be careful of that. And that's just what looked like Naptown got caught up in. It's probably why they made some moves.
Yeah, threes hockey could be like that. It can be a quicksand effect where the second you go down by a couple, it's just struggling the whole way through. Let's take a look at the 10-15 games here. The Slicers lose a Tuesday game. I feel like I probably put in the wrong data on that. I'm just kidding, because the Sting are a fantastic team. They take down the Slicers 5-4 in game 2 of the night for them. Generals and Naptown had technical issues. We moved that game to game 4 on Wednesday, and Naptown ended up taking the win on that one. It was late, and there was a lot of technical issues, but Naptown played a fantastic game. Well-deserved win for them there in that one. Gotham City continues their run 8-7 over a very good Savannah Bananas team. The Angry Birds really starting to get some momentum and something rolling there, going up 7-6 against the Tropics. But watch out for the Tropics. No wins last week. A little foreshadowing here. They did some good stuff this week. The Tribe take down the Blissful Biscuit Cookies 4-0, and the top-seeded Blue Dragons continue their run 7-6. Mikey, did you play this night?
I played on Wednesday night. Tuesday was Mrs. Diesel's birthday, and I didn't dare even look at Discord.
Well, hey, happy birthday, Mrs. Diesel. In that case,
What a good boy.
You were
Such
playing.
a good boy there, Mikey.
Dandy, you were playing there, right? With Gotham?
Yeah, Tuesday was my night. That Savannah game, it came right down to the wire. We were like within a minute, and I think 3 goals were scored in that game with a minute and a half left. It was a crazy game, and shout out to Will Tunick. That guy stands on his head in net, and being a buddy of mine, what a great NHL player as well. But yeah, we just pulled out at the end and scored with probably 30 to 40 seconds left and sealed the deal.
G-Wit's in the chat here, just saying the Birds went down 5-1 against the Tropics going into the third and came back to take it. Great game.
Mhm.
Oh boy, that is.
That was the one on stream, right?
Yep, that was the one on stream, and it
You and
was
TG, that's right. Hey, good call, G-Wits. That was a hell of a game. I was
absolutely.
peeking at that.
yeah, that was going to
Maybe.
be my call. That game was insane. If it had the technical difficulties that you guys were having, and it ended early, that would have been the Tropics game. But it was just crazy down to the last second, where it was last couple minutes where the Birds really just turned it on even more so than they had even before to tie it up. So it was a crazy game.
You love to see it. I love when we get the good games on screen. Looking at 10:45 here on Tuesday, last game of the night there. The Sting continue a really good run here, taking down Gotham City 5-4. Angry Birds with a really strong Tuesday showing, 5-4 over the very tough Tampa Bay Tribe. The Slicers, that's the Tuesday domination. I remember 9-2 over the Blissful Biscuit Cookies, 7-2 for the Blue Dragons over Naptown. The Savannah Bananas in a back and forth game. Dan kind of still hurt my feelings on this one. And would somebody tell Dan to please pass the salt? They take down the
Sorry,
Generals 7-5. No, it was a great game. I love being salty about it. And those Tropics take a 9-7 win over the Ice Hawks. I'm going to go back to you on this one, Dandy. 5-4 against the Sting. That's a pretty close score. What happened there?
Yeah, that one was another nail biter. Caffrey played Tuesday night, and I remember I just told the guys, I said, we gotta shut him down, or else we're in for a backward slump here. And we were up, I remember, and it was another late goal that the Sting came up. It was 4-4. We're like, yep, we secured OT. It's gonna be a good one. And then the Sting pot one back, Private Plasma, and shout out Private Plasma. That guy's a brick wall. We just obviously couldn't get him 3 games on Tuesday.
Just a nail biter right at the end. That finishes off our 10:45 games for Tuesday. On to Wednesday night. Those Blissful Biscuit Cookies take down the Sting 8-6. The Dragons fall to the Savannah Bananas 6-13. That is a heck of a score. Generals took down Gotham City 8-0. The Ice Hawks lose to the Tribe 7-0. Back-to-back shutout games there. The Angry Birds take down the Slicers 10-9. And the Tropics 9-5 over Naptown. Another win for Miami. Dan, what did you see? Blah, blah, blah. I can't talk. Dan, what did you see?
Well, me and Dandy and Army were fortunate enough to stream the BBC Sting game, and that was crazy. The Sting went up 5-0 in like the first 10 minutes of the first period, and it was not looking good. And those boys, grinded. TG stood on her head. Hatfield and Wiley did their Hatfield and Wiley things, and what I think the biggest thing that I took from that is that if those 4 can stay together all season, and they're just going to get better, and they play like that, and they're able to come back from that type of deficit because they were down, and the Sting played a hell of a game. Truly, they did. That's going to be a really tough line to beat every Wednesday night if that's going to be when they're going to be playing. That I do know.
BA, were you around on Wednesday with I didn't know if you snuck in on Wednesday there.
Yeah, I did. I came in for the towards the latter half of the second game, and then for the remainder of the games. But if I have my 2 seconds here, I just keep looking at the Angry Bird score, and they keep winning by 1 each game. But that is one team that's really surprised me this season so far.
I believe they had the best week, if I remember correctly. Oh, go ahead.
May I interject while you look that up?
Absolutely.
The reason why that team is not surprising me with how well they're playing and how they're winning close games is a lot of those guys play together and have played together for years. So they all know where each other is going to be. They all know everything. They can trust each other to be where they want to be. And granted, they came over from a 6s league, but it's transferring to a 3s league as well, which they're doing here, and it's fantastic. It's good to see. It's good to see what chemistry does versus quote unquote top talent.
Absolutely. They had 15 points on the week, 5-0, 1-0 for them. And shout out to Wax Poetic for gifting 5.
Yeah, Wax Poetic. I think
son
he's
of a
trying
bitch.
to buy stock in the VVHL at this point.
No, I
we've
told
run
Wax
out
Poetic,
of shares, man.
guys. I told Wax Poetic that if he doesn't contribute, the site's gonna go dark.
That's
So
right.
he just makes sure that he's
He's
contributing.
keeping the lights on.
Yeah.
What a guy.
Dude, Calico Cup pants, man, you gotta get them. They're always out of my size.
Thank you,
though.
Wax.
Fuck.
Seriously.
You know what? The Generals are kind of sitting 8th in the league right now, so if we just turn off the lights, I'm actually okay with that right now, because it's not going so great. Foreshadowing even more for the scores to come. Let's take a look at those. Whoops. Clicked on the wrong thing. There we go. Our 10-15 games. The Generals lost to the aforementioned Sting 8-9, which was a heartbreaker for us. My goodness, I thought we had that. Slicers over the Ice Hawks 12 to 11 in overtime. Angry Birds over the Blissful Biscuit Cookies 10-7. That's the Wiley line too. Tropics over the Bananas 7-6 in overtime. Look out, they got a sun in their logo and they are heating up. They could be a menace. They made some big moves that are really paying off for them right now. The Blue Dragons take down Gotham City 10-6, and the Naptown Nightmare fall to the Tampa Bay Tribe 6-2. Mikey, you said you played Wednesday, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to call it that, sure. Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about
We
your
aired that game.
Whew. Man, game 1, Tampa Tribe, those guys couldn't be stopped. You got to face JG and Mikey PT, and I just said it with the guys from the 6s league with the Angry Birds. Same thing with Mike and JG. They play together all the time, and they just pants us the entire game.
And Wax
It was gross.
Poetic.
No.
Who's a stud.
No,
Man.
Poetic was in the game, but he was counting lights whenever he came near good old Mikey Diesel. So you know something? he's trying to give subs to get some penance for the next time we play together, and that ain't happening, pal. You're going right in that dark.
You're right. You know what? That's it. That's it.
You know
He's
something, dude? Wax Poetic knows that my hair used to be slicked back. I lived for New Year's Eve, and sloppy steaks were on the reg. But yeah, Tampa Tribe dressed us down. They're nasty. We're not. And moves happened to counterbalance that.
Two things I just want to throw in there quick, because I forgot to say it earlier. One, shout out Infinite Madness for these amazing graphics again. Week in, week out.
Yep.
I think I got 30 images from him today. Imagine doing anything 30 times. Now imagine doing that for a stranger on the internet. We appreciate the heck out of it. There. Two, we got 32 of you beauties in the chat here. I hate when streamers do this and they mention how many people are there, but it is a new LiveWire record, I believe. Thank you for joining us here on a Friday. We love having you here, and we love doing this for you. Enough of the schmoozy stuff. Let's keep going. We have got the 10:45 game here for Wednesday night. The Angry Birds over the Sting 8-4. Angry Birds, I know we keep talking about it, but they keep winning. The Tropics win another one, 8-6. Over Gotham City The Blue Dragons took down the Generals 9-8 in overtime, which was back-to-back heartbreakers, and I'm still not over it. Naptown Nightmare fall to the Sicilian Slicers 8-9. And the Ice Hawks fall to the Blissful Biscuit Cookies 11-4. And the Tampa Bay Tribe over the Savannah Bananas 7-4. What are we seeing in the final game on Wednesday here, gentlemen, that started all the chaos in the hours to come?
Oh man, I you could look at so many of these games. You can look at Miami at Gotham. That was a big game for Gotham from a point standings. If you're looking at the standings coming out of week 2, same thing for the BBC and the Hawks. I mean, the Hawks need that win. The BBC really need that win because they're fighting from a tougher week 1, I think, than they expected, and a better week 2. But again, every win's going to be valuable right now, especially with their top line. So, it all of week 2 caused the biggest cataclysm in VVHL history, which is every trade that we now have to address, because I can't even tell you who's on what fucking team right now, boys. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to cheat here.
You know what I know? Don't think that you can time an edible properly if you have to stream for a record amount of people on a Friday.
Hey, you know what? Vroom, vroom. That's why we have this league.
That's why we have it. BA Dandy, kind of co-question here for you guys. The Tampa Bay Tribe 7-4 over Savannah Bananas. That was the third game of the night, I believe, on stream. What happened there?
I'll let you take this one, Dandy.
Yeah, we kind of caught the end of this one on stream due to a crazy overtime game with the Blue Dragons and the Generals. But, or sorry, not the Blue Dragons Generals. It was the game 2 that we had on screen, went no overtime with the Slicers and that. But, yeah, that Tribe, and we already said it enough. JG, Mikey PT, they play all the time. And those guys know they're almost, I'll compare them to you, Sean and Tony. You guys could close your eyes and go, yep, he's over there. It's just the chemistry is unreal. But I mean, the Savannah Bananas, they had a hard week too, and they came back, and now hopefully they, with the trades and that we keep talking about, they can bounce it back week 3 before the deadline. And
just to follow that up, Backblast actually sent out to all the owners before the season started a questionnaire. And one of the questions that was asked was, how do you feel about chemistry? And a lot of teams, not you, Sean, I remember that off the top of my head, but there was only like 2 or 3 teams that mentioned chemistry as something that was very big for them. And what are we talking about a couple weeks in? What are we seeing with all these trades and trying to find the right chemistry and certain people going back to where they're used to playing? Whether or not people wanted to admit it or not, chemistry seems to be a very, very big indicator so far in the season. And I think that's what's going to carry some of these teams in a large way, is having that comfort level, because some of these teams, despite all of these trades, haven't made any moves at all.
And shout out Joe Poo in the chat saying, hey, don't forget to mention Gotham City. The Gotham City Rollers had a lead over the Tropics 5-2 in the third. And the Tropics won 8-6. Oh, that's heartbreaking.
There you go.
That was a lot of us in for the Generals this week.
Next point.
Yes.
It hurts enough, but I honestly didn't know that, and I appreciate again, Joe. But yeah, I guess the boys couldn't hold it out as I was on the stream. I didn't really catch it for them, but oh, sorry, I scored 4. There you go, Joe. Good games, buddy.
So where does that leave us at the end of week 2? Well, the Blue Dragons continue to sit atop the charts, 9-1-2-0 for 29 points so far. What a great start to the season for them. No surprise, the Slicers are right behind them, 8-1-3-0 for 26 points. The Tampa Bay Tribe went from 4th to 3rd now. They are 8-0-4-0 for 24 points, tied with the Birds, who had themselves a week going 5-0-1-0. So the Angry Birds moved to 8-0-4-0 for 24 points, tied for third. The Savannah Bananas are still right there, 7-0-4-1. The Sting, just behind them, starting to round off the lower half here with 7-0-5-0. The Blissful Biscuit Cookies, still a surprise. Barkov and Wiley on that team with TG Girl and Hatfield that line, 5-0-6-1 for 16 points, tied with those Generals, the exact same score. Gotham City Rollers 4-0-7-1 for 13 points. The Tropics in 10th with a 3-1-8-0 for 11 points, but they're starting to heat up. That 8th spot is very, very open for everybody here. The Ice Hawks are 0-3-8-1, still looking for that first regulation win, but they made some moves. We'll be talking about that soon. They've got 7 points. And the Naptown Nightmare 2-0-9-1 for 7 points. Gentlemen, I'll just start us off in the standings, but obviously Blue Dragons, Slicers, really putting themselves above the top, and they've got 2 teams chomping at their heels. But looking down at that 8th spot, it's only 9 points between last place and in the playoffs. It's going to be a heck of a run all the way to the end.
I'm just baffled by one. Every single team is still very much in the playoff hunt. It's top 8 teams, right? We have 2/3 of the season left to go. No one's on their original team anymore. So really, we're kind of starting from here, right? For a lot of teams, we're going to have a hell of a 4-week run. I think BA's hit the nail right on the head. If you look at the teams that are winning, a lot of it is very much chemistry based. You look at, I got traded to the first place team. I am very, very thankful to be a Blue Dragon, and and I loved being a banana too. Don't get me wrong, but it's you never know where you're going to get traded. But you look at Carney, you look at Kels, you look at Wiley, you look at Barkov, you look at you, Sean, you look at Tony. There's some pairings, Dandy, Batman. There is some really strong pairings, and Infinite and Jaybird. No one's talking about the Angry Birds enough. I think we're starting to talk about them this week, but holy crap, that's a really good team. Entire show talking about them. I know.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm teasing.
I know. He's gushing over them.
Guys, we're gonna get sued by the Angry Birds mobile app game.
I'm just saying,
And Dave and Buster.
it is. The chem is showing. The chem is showing. You have a brand new ownership group in GG and Grave Dog, and they drafted Big Mike, second overall, who has not played in our league in like a gazillion seasons. But it's chem based, and these guys are figuring it out. And the teams that are starting to make their push have figured out where they need to balance less chem with more skill, and that in certain positions, and that's showing as well. And it's just the competitiveness this season is just more. It's more than I could have ever expected, and it's super awesome.
Yes, sir. And we've got a lot to go through here yet, so I think we're going to kind of fly through the stats here a little bit, give credit where credit's due for sure, but we've got so much to talk about yet and so little time. The points leaders after week 2, we've got Gage 906 with 58, Octodaddy with 55, myself with 49, Jay Bird with 45, Stefano with 43, Wiley and Barkov tied with 42 apiece, T Mazer with 40, Buck Neeson, shout out Buck Neeson with 40, and Torch It with 39. That is the points leaders after week 2. Goal leaders, Jaybird continues to stay at the top of a lot of these charts here. He's got 33 after 2 weeks. Octodaddy, 94 with 28, tied with Wiley. Boss Games TV. Boss Games, a last round pick, by the way. And of course, everybody knew he was going to kill it right off the bat. So this should be no surprise. Yep. Boss Games with 28. Torch It and Crazy Kraut tied with 25 apiece for that spot. Gage and myself, Brew and Biz all fighting for that number 7 spot on the top 10 list after week 2. Looking at the assist leaders, Gage 906 again topping some of these charts here. His name always seems to come up. He's got 36. Wax Poetic, shout out Wax Poetic with 31. Octodaddy, myself, Buck Neeson, Sav Infinite, Hatfield all tied with 27. Phil Kidd with 25, and Stefano with 24. The hits leaders, Jay Bird, hello again. We meet with 115. T Mazer with 102. Shout out T Mazer. That man Jay with 70. G Wits with 69. He's going to be flying up those charts again. I think he's only down there because he played a small build for a little bit, and you'll be right back up at the top. Nux Sage with 53. Brew with 55. Torchit and Joker with 53 apiece, and Showstopper and Wiley tied with 51. Defensively, our interception leader, 78 for myself. I also played 6 games this week, so please don't let these stats fool you. 78 for myself, Octo Daddy and BMX tied with 70 for 70 apiece for second place. Torchit and Wax Poetics and Sav with 69 apiece for that 4 spot. Backblast Dan with 68, That Man Jay with 67, Gage with 58, and Showstopper with 56. That is our interception leaders after week 2. Looking at the takeaways, staying on the defensive side of things, Octo Daddy's got 46, Torchit with 45, That Man Jay with 42, Gage with 41, BMX, shout out BMX, with 39, tied with Backblast Dan, kind of shout out Backblast Dan, I guess. That works. Myself with 37, Meinhardt with 35, DBC 11 with 35, and Wyatt Earp with 34. Let's give the goalies some love here. Lacko, who I just knew it. I had very, very high on my list, and man, he's just been killing it. Rocking an 84.5 save percentage in threes. That feels criminal.
He's unconscious. He is unconscious. It's gross what he can do right now. Or what he's doing right now, I should say.
Just a maestro out there. Matt Attack, shout out Matt Attack. Second place was 78. Brick World was 77.7. Hawks was 76.9. Jano was 76.9. Gritty, shout out Gritty, 76.8. Thorold was 76.5 with Aviator as well. Shout out Aviator. Private Plasma with 75.2. And that guy's no longer in the league, so I'm not even going to say his name. Looking at the GAA, Hawks with a 3.13 is the top of the charts now. Lacko just behind him with a 3.86. Matt Attack with a 4.83. Jano with a 5. Thorold with a 5.08. Gritty with a 5.12. Coronado with a 5.42. Shout out Coronado. Brickworld with a 5.47. Tied with Aviator. And the Wool Tunic with a 5.67. That is the GAA leaders after week 2. We saw a lot of people moving up in different categories. Week 3 is going to be even crazier. Any thoughts about the stats there, gentlemen?
A lot of rookies all over the place. There's rookies galore. You see a lot of seasoned vets, the people that the points leaders are crazy. It's not our normal points leaders. It's just a lot of new names all over the place, which is really awesome to see.
Man, if I can say, like, hearing all those stats, I felt like Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover with like the meme with all the numbers and equations swirling around him. I couldn't keep track of it all. All I can say is that it seemed like a lot of dudes were out there sportsing their heads off, and as a result of their sportsing, their sports ability was raised to another level. And dude, the cut of their jib just equals jib jabs, and it also equals sports.
Yeah, that makes a good point. BA question: sports?
Sports.
Exactly. On to our 3 players of the week. That's right, Army's here too. Shout out Army. I forgot that you were here. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
There's a lot going on. There's too much information. But shout out Sexelli56 had himself a week. 24 points in 3 games, 8 points per game, 13 goals, 11 assists. That is your offensive player for week 2 from those Angry Birds. Did we mention that they had themselves a week? Defensive player of the week, Octo Daddy, who is he's so difficult to play against. The guy's immediately made a name for himself. 4 games played, 37 points, 9.25 points per game, 21 goals as a defenseman in 4 games, and 16 assists. Fantastic effort there. And the goalie of the week is Hawks 8502. 3 games played with a ridiculous 824 and a 218 GAA. I didn't know the number went that low for GAA.
May I speak on that, Sean?
Absolutely.
On both those things. You said the D-man was Octo Daddy, right?
Yes.
He does not get nearly half the amount of love that he should be getting. What he did in that game against us, was unbelievable. Like, he is just so under the radar versus where he should be considered. I'd put him right up there with Wiley and Crave Dog as some of the top players. Definitely not Barkov. He's one of the worst. No, but like Octo's insane. And Hawks, another guy, man. I don't think he doesn't really talk a lot in the chats. He just shows up and plays. I was on.
He just showed up in chat. There you go, Hawks.
Oh, did he?
Hear you, buddy.
Well, hey, I was gonna say no. Like I played on a team with Hawks in another league, and he indirectly found his way over here. I don't even know how. I know I didn't invite him, but I'm super pumped that he's here, and he's an unbelievable goalie. And that dude's about to start getting a ton of love in the chats, and people are gonna have to keep an eye out for him because he's one of the top goalies.
He got an Regger Quench NIL deal. That was part of the deal, man.
Listen. I told him if he has a higher than an 810 save percentage for the season, I'm getting an Regger Crunch tattoo, my inner thigh. It's happening.
Oh man.
810 or higher, Hawks.
Mikey,
you're the guy. I will do it. Do not test me. Don't tread on me either, right?
That gives us the perfect segue for Mikey's commissioner corner.
Oh, is that the segue into my corner?
Yeah, that's what you get, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, with the new segment, Commissioner's Corner, it's Mikey Diesel.
All right, here's my state of the server address. ECUs, you see what's happening? We're 2 weeks in the books. We've already whittled it down from 12 to 3 on the ECU list. This always happens every season. We're going to be opening up an ECU list for new members that just joined the server or you missed out on the draft. For whatever reason, you can sign up to be an ECU. You can say it would be, there'll be 2 options with the possibility of being called up on a roster for the remainder of the season, or you would just prefer to play on a nightly basis for a team. So that's going to be getting rolled out next week. My thoughts as far as the season so far is pretty good. We've had a couple hiccups here and there, but like nothing crazy. It's good to see things get talked out versus kicked out of the league. So super proud of the community for that. And we're also going to be rolling out a fundraiser pretty soon too. I'm going to have a VVHL Turkey Day Pick'em. It's going to be a 50-50 raffle. I'm sorry, 50-50 fundraiser, where I'll post that later in the week. But you pick all 3 games, the scores with the spreads, and then a tiebreaker, and half the pot will go to the winner, and the other half will go to us for the website, server, the stream, the graphics, everything you see in the league, MSO. And yeah, last but not least, welcome to the new members. If this is your first time watching this, I hope you enjoy what you're seeing. If you're a regular, I apologize. You know the level that we're at as far as content with me and talking. But yeah, thanks for everyone for being here. It's a lot of fun and psyched to have you.
Can somebody? We got somebody in the chat here. First of all, we saw JG there. Shout out JG. How you doing, buddy? Shout out Gods too there as well. G-Wits in there. We got PSN Blackfire1 asking, how do I sign up? Can we get somebody just to put the Discord link in chat there and give this man a link? Baba Booey.
Got it.
All right. Is that claps all around for Mikey the Commish? Thank you for that.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Worst rambling ever.
No, that was good.
I'm trash.
Oh, that's good, man.
All right. Well, for those of you who don't know, the one and only Ogre Whelming, part of the server, writes a little segment for us called the Ogre Scrolls, where he gives his true and honest two-heart rankings of the teams, and he tries to be as honest as possible, and we appreciate it for him. We always ask, of course, if you're ranked lower down on the list, that it's not a reflection poorly against you. It's just a fun thing we do where every team gets ranked. So don't take it negative.
It's only a game.
It's only a game.
Why you have to be mad?
Ranked 12th on the Ogre Scrolls, we've got the Ice Hawks, and Ogre says the post-draft rankings have had this team at 12, and they slid back into that spot, stuck on 3 overtime wins. They made a couple of moves, but getting boss games should help bring some more offense. With Diesel shifting into net occasionally, what can this team do before the deadline? MVP of the week for them, Torch it, 20 points in 4 games. And one of those was a shutout, too, apparently, so... Let's say 20 points in 3 games. Great job. Great job. Number 11, we got the Naptown Nightmare. It says the Nightmare were another team that made a slew of moves, bringing in Nux, John Hancock, and Salpip. And they're looking to crawl out of the basement. Getting another goalie to let Swoley play out would be a boost to the offense. And the MVP of the week for them was Swoley Mammoth. He put up 13 points in 3 games, but it came with a win and pushing a top team to a close loss. He is the catalyst of this squad. Shout out Swoley. We got the Tropics to 10 now. After starting without a win, the Tropics went 4-2 with new acquisitions Tater and Wyatt Earp. Will they continue this hot streak and push towards a playoff spot? MVP of the week, Tater. New acquisition for him. The team went 3-0 with him, and he's put up 21 points. A big improvement from the 6 he put up the previous week. Maybe the Tropics are unlocking his potential. Shout out Army and the Tropics there, picking up a gem in Tater. Gotham City Rollers come in at number 9. Batman and Dandy aren't happy with how they started this season, so they're going to be making some moves, bringing in Senko and Maximus, hoping the team can utilize them a little better. This will be a big make or break week for this squad, and the MVP for them, Dandy Randy, put up 21 points and went 2-1. Good job there, Dandy. Coming in at number 8 is the Generals. Going 2-4, the Generals cleaned house, foreshadowing. Bringing in a familiar friend of BMX. All right, more foreshadowing. Will this third pickup result in a better result for Sean and the Major Squad, or will they finally break through and win a cup with this trio? With BMX, Shock Does Mariota, and the returning Greener, the Generals will hope to get back on track. MVP was myself, 34 points in all 6 games. Shout out to those Generals. The Blissful Biscuit Cookies coming in at number 7, sitting at 5-6-1. The Cookies are still looking to find their stride. They did make a couple of trades, notably bringing in Black Daddy and Joshua, who they will hope to give them a bit more than the outgoing players. Black Daddy pairing with Barkov and Wiley might become a new nightmare for teams. Oh, I didn't even think about that when I saw that trade. Oh, boy. MVP of the week is Wiley, 21 points in 3 games, and still tied with Barkov in points. They're eerily consistent. The Cookies will need even more from him to climb these standings. Coming in at 6, it's the Sting, going 4-2 on the week. The Sting are starting to get that chemistry. Their top 5 scorers are all within 2 points of each other, showcasing how balanced they are. MVP of the week for them is Tails, 16 points in 3 games, including 8 against the Generals. Ouch. All right. Tails has as many points as Caffrey, showcasing how good of a pick he was. Shout out Tails. Savannah Bananas in at number 5. After having a 2-4 week, the Bananas made some trades, picking up Spyco, Dead Snipe, Thrasher, and Manning. How will they perform with the shakeup? That's seismic. They still roster Stefano, Kraut, and Brick, who will look to carry the load. MVP of the week for them was Stefano, 24 points in 4 games. Stefano looking to continue that hot start. At number 4, we've got the Angry Birds. Going 5-1, the Birds answered the biggest question. How will they do against higher-end teams? The answer is a resounding very well. Jaybird remains the standout performer with 45 points, and he is Ogre's MVP of the week for them this week. 8 points per game in 3 wins. Jay just continues to lead by example. Number 3 is the Tampa Bay Tribe. Top 3 here now. The Tribe secured 2 shutouts in their 6 games this week. The Tribe have only allowed 48 goals in 12 games, which is 17 less than the next closest team. With 1 week before the deadline, this is a team to keep an eye on as they've stayed silent thus far. MVP of the week is Hawks. 3 wins with a shutout. Like we mentioned, that's how you get third star or the goalie of the week. Hawks is giving the Tribe a 2-headed monster in net. The Slicers in at number 2. Slicers sit 3 points back of the Dragons, but they've carved out an incredible start with their second line giving top lines tough games. Missing owner Hoagie this week, Gage and Octo now pace the squad with 58 and 55 points respectively. MVP of the week for them was Octo Daddy with 37 points in 4 games. It's an impressive haul for most stat lines, but when it's a defenseman, insane performance from Octo, who went 3-1 in those 4 games. And your number 1 team on the Ogre rankings is the Blue Dragons. The initial post-draft favorites still sit on top with a 5-1 week to put a bit of breathing room between them and the Slicers. With all of the action happening, the Dragons were able to bring in 3 new faces in Backblast Dan, Big Truck, and Wool Tunic. Will this allow Seth Kells to get out of net and get on offense? We will see soon enough. And the MVP for them, Lacko, says Lacko gets double duty, finishing with 3 more wins to put his record at 7-0. How far can this top line push this record? Gentlemen, that's too much talking from me. Here's the rankings. Talk it out. Oy.
Holy smokes, man. Well, first off, shout out to Ogre for I think he did a spectacular job with the rankings again. I think they're really impartial. It talks about a lot of the moves that we're seeing. We saw, again, BA nailed it. Chemistry. You saw teams take a step forward with how well they're playing together with both lines. Both nights matter. And I think in previous seasons, that didn't necessarily kind of matter as much when you have so many different teams to play against. And no matter what, whether you think it's your top line or not, there's going to be another top line against yours. So you can't just count those wins. And I think that's a big difference that I'm seeing in not only the standings, but the power rankings as well as, and the responses that we're seeing with the amount of trades by our ownership groups, just because right now it's a fight to stay relevant in these standings right now. And the next 2 weeks are going to be really telling, and we're not even at the trade deadline. So holy shit.
Dandy?
As far as
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Dandy.
Yeah, I mean, Dan pretty much hit the nail on the head again. I'll echo that. Shout out Ogre with the Ogre Scrolls. But, I mean, from what Dan and I have seen on Wednesday night streams, it doesn't matter what game we stream. We've streamed 6 games total in our 2 weeks doing this. They've been crazy games. There's been crazy plays. Even we're wanting you guys to clip it to throw it in our group because we're like, damn, Xbox, you better record that because that was a crazy play. Whatever the case may be. But chemistry, you nailed that one on the head, man. That's definitely your biggest thing, and I won't say it more than enough. Once these teams get chemistries, and I get it, they got new bodies in. Once they get rolling, this league this is the most competition I've seen in the 2 other seasons I've been here. There's no sleeper teams anymore. Everyone's competitive, and we said at the beginning of the show that 8th spot for the playoff, it's a 9-point gap. 9 points are nothing. You're gonna get that in one night essentially, and it's going to be a crazy fight these next 3 weeks. 4 weeks, my apologies.
No, there's nothing much more that I can add to what's already been said. That I echo all of that. We're going to get into these trades here, but some of these trades are going to make these standings, both the legitimate standings and these power rankings, just look a little unfair, in my opinion, for some of the teams going forward that made some of the moves, because some of these moves have put some teams in power positions moving forward, and like everyone's saying, we're not even at the trade deadline yet.
Yes, shout out Ogre again for this whole write up and everything, and Infinite Madness, man. I love all these graphics so much. I cannot stress how great they are. Yeah, that is it for the Ogre Scrolls session. Let's get back to, where is it here? There we go. Hide that. Let's get right into these trades. We'll start off here with the first one. This kicked it all off here. The Tropics receive first-round pick Tater. Gotham City receives first-round pick BMX. Gentlemen, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I can't believe BMX is still not a general at this point.
Shadowing.
We'll take that
what I could say is the Tropics, I think, after going 0-6 week 1, I think the biggest glaring issue that they saw was we need offensive firepower, and they were playing really defensively in all of their games, and you got to give up. You got to give a little to get a little, and I think that this was a great trade for the Tropics. I mean, as much as it sucks to lose a defenseman like BMAX, Tater brings an offensive firepower, and again, I think I forgot who said it out here on the street. Maybe they unlocked his potential because he put on a show for Miami in week 2. Tater did.
Dan, if I may, I just need to correct something that you just said. You said you have to give a little to get a little, and I think you might have forgot the second half of that phrase.
And you gotta want it. You gotta want it.
Thank you. Very
Sorry.
much. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, when
Not
you're in
only-
Miami, when you're 0-6, you know what you got to do? You got to fucking want it. And they went out and got them a Tater, and Tater put up the points.
They went out and they got themselves a potato.
He got himself a Tater. Oh, he was baked. The wax said it. Have I learned nothing? You have to give him some. Yeah, but that was a great trade, I think, for both sides.
And the Tropics stayed busy trading Nux Sajo for Wyatt Earp. I feel like that's a win-win, basically, because Wyatt, I believe, was as advertised, and Nux has got a lot of skill. So,
yeah,
I'm sure both.
Wyatt. Well, sorry, all I was gonna say is Wyatt definitely immediately made his presence felt.
Mm-hmm. Being a big part of that resurgence from the Tropics here in week 2. 2 high-powered offensive players getting traded here as well in Joker 91. And is Nazar, what was his other name?
Letty.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, Letty.
I think, honestly, this is a chem thing here. Joker's a really good player. He's new to the VVHL. Letty is a vet. I think the BBC, again, didn't have the week 1 that they wanted. Same thing with the Ice Hawks. I think that they expected the chemistry to be a little bit different. I think that this is fresh face, new place. This is a win for both.
And then came the Matterhorn.
Holy
Big
shit, this
4-team trade here that personally involved in, and it took about 5 days, I think, of back and forth. And what if we bring this guy in? Then what if this person goes here? Obviously, we receive our boy BMX, but not only that, getting Super Mariota back was a huge part of the reason that deal went through, because we gave up Sal Pip and John Hancock and Big Truck, and we're very happy with the 3 guys we got back. But it's always sad and terrible to have to give up talent like that. But it worked for us, and we wish all those guys nothing but the best there. But so we get BMX Super Mariota, shocked us. Naptown really bolstered their goaltending by getting Sal Pip there, and then a defenseman that's already played with him right in front of him. That was a really good part of that trade for them. Big Truck and Thrasher Fan going to the Ice Hawks, some immediate offense there, and then Black Daddy, who had a ton of value in this trade, going to Gotham City.
Mm-hmm. That's a big pickup for Gotham.
The trades continued after that. The Ice Hawks picking up some more offense in the form of Boss Games TV and Phoenix. Going back as N Manning and Thrasher Fan, Boss Games has put up a lot of points this season. So to see him moved, the Ice Hawks are happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, again, you have to respond to what's going on in your team in a 6-week season. 3 weeks is a very short window to figure out what's going to work for you offensively. Defense is such a huge part of the game, but there's only a handful of guys that can really impact the goal scoring in the way that certain players can. And Boss Games proved that value. Phoenix played along with him for the Bananas. And Manning is a league vet, can play all over the ice, and Thrasher Fan is a hell of a D-man, hell of a winger. It's again another great trade.
The Bananas kept it going after that with another big one. The Blue Dragons receive Backblast Dan and Wool Tunic. Going back the other way is Rookie Spyco Pat and Dead Snipe JC. Wait, is Spyco rookie?
Yes, he is. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, big trade here again. The Dragons obviously loading up Wool Tunic. Is he exclusively net or can he play forward?
He
I'm
plays out
pretty
too.
sure.
He's a
Yeah,
winner.
he plays everywhere.
Ah, okay. And then, of course, getting Dan. That's huge for their defense. But giving up a lot of value in Spyco Pat and Dead Snipe. Two guys that have, I mean, if you look at the website, you'll see a bunch of points up there already.
This was a trade, though, that for the Blue Dragons to get two players that have so much well-known respect in the league, especially for defense and goalie, that was a huge win for the number one team. Again, a team that's focused clearly a lot on comfort and chemistry. I know that's the word of the night. But for the number one team to add these two players, again, I know they gave up a lot, but to add these two players in that defensive mindset, that's a big thing.
Nope.
Huh?
That's a big thing. Title of your sex tape.
Aww.
So I couldn't. I'm sorry.
I walked right in.
Sorry to all our
I'd ordered
sponsors,
one.
advertisers.
The Blue Dragons continued their trades by getting Big Truck, the recently traded Big Truck, for Outcast Avenger. That's another big trade for them. Bringing in a guy like Big Truck to an already a team that's already rolling. That's huge.
Yeah, he's a force to be reckoned with on the ice, and I was part of an earlier trade in the day with the Blue Dragons, so I had the pleasure of playing with my new team last night, and I don't think I've ever actually played with Big Truck until last night, and it was awesome. That guy is just he is moving forward at all times. Big Truck is a great name for him, and I think, but Outcast is a hell of a player, awesome locker room guy as well. He was a big part of everything with Tugboat. And I know that the Ice Hawks got a high value trade in this as well. I think maybe it's just different play styles that's best for both teams. I don't know.
Interestingly enough, though, the Dragons were a team that didn't make any moves last year, so it's nice to see them a little bit more involved at the deadline. Or closer to the deadline, I should say.
Unlike the Tribe, am I right, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. No. Are we allowed to talk about our Illuminati style ban on all trades? Tampa Tribe.
JG. Yep.
Yeah.
Especially,
Just him.
I mean,
Trade committee turned it down again, man. I don't know what to tell you.
oh, is that too soon? Is that too fresh from where he used to be? I'm gonna stop.
Oh, I forgot about it.
Oh, shoot.
Inside jokes. All right, Gotham City gets in on some trades here again with the Blissful Biscuit cookies. Barkov doesn't make a lot of trades, but he made a doozy one here. Maximus Donkey is going to Gotham City along with Silky and however you say that. In return, they get Black Daddy and Joshua. Joshua put up a ton of points last season, and Black Daddy has a ton of value. So you got to think the cookies are feeling good about this trade.
I think both sides are feeling really good about this trade. I think Gotham City gets kind of a boost in every sense from this trade, and I think for the BBC and for Barkov and for Wiley, as they're looking around and trying to figure out, okay, how do we realign our lines so we can spread the love a little bit. I think this gives them their flexibility and kind of that depth as well. I think this is a great trade for both teams. I think it helps. I think it helps round out both of their clubs' lines overall.
I should add that I 100% agree. I was just focusing on one side of the trade for conversation. The perfectly timed duck.
I'm gonna take that to heart, Sean. So
I don't know how to get out of this gracefully.
All right, everybody close your eyes and we'll tell you what to
Yeah.
look at the screen again, okay?
Yeah, that's right. Everybody can just look away for 1 second.
This is what we call a manual transition here in the biz.
Oh, gentlemen, that's a 1 hour episode of Livewire.
Unbelievable.
If you're still with us here, thank you. Thank you for being here. We hope you enjoyed the show. It's normally only a 30-minute show if you don't normally watch this. It's normally 30 minutes, but there was just so much that happened this week. And yeah, it was just one of the best weeks in VVHL just in terms of trades ever and activity. It was awesome. Gentlemen, how you doing?
I'm ready for some hockey. I'm about to hit up the LFG. Everybody meet up on the BBC LFG.
If I may promote one quick thing, tomorrow
Saturday's
night,
tournament.
Saturday's tournament, man, where
yeah.
everyone that's in the server is allowed to play in it. It's Max Enforcer night. So everyone's got to be
Enforcer.
6'9", 2, whatever the highest weight is. You can use whatever trait you want, whatever, anything like that, but
You just
everyone
gotta
has
be
to
a
be some
massive
sort of
dude.
an Enforcer build all the way maxed out, like top
It's
weight,
gonna be
top
fun.
height. It's going to be a fun night, man. Let's go.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah, let's go
Thanks,
quick
Mariota.
round. Let's go quick round table here. So, Mikey, thank you for that. BA, what you got?
I'm just looking forward to what happens over the next week, obviously with the trade deadline, but also excited to see what the Blue Dragons are going to look like, as we talked about, but also interested in what the Ice Hawks are going to look like as a team who made a lot of other trades, and that's a team with only 3 remaining players because of trades and 1 replacement. Only 3 remaining players from the original team. So also they acquired, and this doesn't mean anything, it's just interesting because they acquired mostly 6th-round picks and a 5th rounder from the original draft. So I'm just interested to see how that team blends together and what changes come from all that movement.
Mr. Randy, how are you doing?
Besides you dissing my trade, I'm doing great, Sean. Appreciate it.
I was
But,
talking up once.
Oh, you're one-sided. That's all we know. This guy's one-sided, everyone. Yeah. Another note. No, I'm doing great. I think we nailed it all on the head. Like we kind of hit all angles, but yeah, I'm excited for week 3 and the trade deadline. Sorry, is coming up. So we'll see if any other trades sneak in. Wink, wink, Hoagie, wink, wink. But yeah, other than that, maybe we'll see if
Hoagie's not-
something goes on and we'll see what
He's
goes on.
not trading anybody. You kidding me? He ain't. No way. No
Listen,
way.
Mr. Not Owner or GM, you can dream, okay? We can dream,
Listen,
all right?
I,
But other than that, no, it's
I'm
power
now I'm
rankings
just
for other
curious.
shows were great, but hey, we'll catch everyone around for tomorrow's tourney. I'll be in it. It'll be fun. Everyone, Saturday, forces only. Have fun.
Someone's getting taken the fuck out. That's what I know.
I asked him what he'd want from Buck Neeson, and all I got in the mail was a card that I opened up, and it had a boxing glove on a spring that just hit me in the groin.
It was chocolate.
It was chocolate. Dan, how about yourself? Anything before we go?
Nah, I'm good, man. Ready to play some hockey.
All right, then. Well, thank you all so much for being with us here tonight. We appreciate you for sticking it out, and we hope you enjoyed yourself. And we will be back Tuesday with live action starting at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time for the start of Week 3. And I forget who mentioned it, but it's the trade deadline week. So these next 2 games are really going to decide a lot of teams going into playoffs. It's going to be very great to see.
Hell yeah.
Also, shout out TG Girl for joining us on Tuesday there. I couldn't make it, so
Yeah,
she jumped
she
in.
was fucking
PA,
incredible.
just killed it. It was so good. All right. Well, from myself, from everybody here, and I should say thank you all for joining the stream here tonight yourselves and giving up your voice and your thoughts and your time. There's no better way to end the stream there. Take care, everybody. Y'all have yourself a great night, and we'll don't forget to sign up for the tournament tomorrow, and we'll see you on Tuesday with Tuesday night hockey. I don't know. I'm tired. Good night, everybody.
Vroom vroom.
Boom, boom. Bye-bye.
Vroom, vroom.